Hello, this is Linda Yunjin,
Courtney Linda.
Danielle Gaudet.
and you're listening to the For a New Humanity podcast from Earth Management TV. Today's topic is, what is an Earth citizen?
So, yeah, what exactly is an Earth citizen? It has the word Earth in it, but it kind of sounds alien-like.
Yeah, kind of like, greetings, Earth citizen. I have come.
Yeah.
I have come down from Mars.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a really good time to define this. I would love to hear the definition as well.
So obviously the alien thing is a joke.
Oh.
But there's a point here. There's a reason why we made that alien reference. Because, okay, let's imagine for a minute. Let's use our imagination. Let's say that a real alien were to land on Earth, and let's say it landed at my house, and another one landed at your house, and another one landed at your house. So let's imagine. And the alien says, "Who are you? What is this place? Where are you from? Where am I?" If the alien says, "What is this star that I landed? Where am I?" I'm not going to say, "Oh, you landed in Phoenix, Arizona." And Courtney's not going to say, "You landed in Boston, Massachusetts and Seattle, Washington," because for an alien, those terms make no sense. Right?
Right. Or even like the United States of America.
Right. That means nothing to an alien. Like, what does that mean? However, what would make sense would be you landed on a planet called Earth. And my name is Linda. I am somebody who lives on this planet called Earth that you just landed on right now. So because every single person, if some foreigner came here, the thing that unites us is, this is Earth and I'm a person who lives on Earth. That is our common ground. In other words, we are all natives to the Earth, first and foremost.
Right. But so like here on planet Earth, the Earthlings are so often not getting along with each other because of all of the differences, right? We're focusing on, different cultures, different races, different political parties, religions. All our differences make us separate, then those separations cause judgments and fighting, and the conflict can run really deep, and we all know how ugly it gets. But if we focus on what you're talking about, that we are really ultimately all just from the Earth, we're citizens of the Earth, then in that moment, we're kind of making a decision to look at our likeness, our common ground, as you said, instead of the separations. So we're sort of deciding, okay, here in the fact that we're all from the Earth, we're all living on this Earth together, we're citizens of this Earth together, this is what makes us one. Even if we could fight forever about our differences of opinions and cultural lifestyles and backgrounds, but this Earth citizen concept is where we are one. That's what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, it's our ultimate commonality. And this isn't entirely a new concept. Like, some of this already exists. You might have heard of global citizenship, which is a term to describe the social, environmental, and economic actions taken by individuals, communities who recognize that every person is a citizen of the world. So Earth citizen is our take on that same concept.
I love that. I actually haven't heard that before, global citizenship, but I love that. I think it's the same. And I'm so happy to know that there's other groups and people out there talking about it. And it's like we're all becoming aware that if something happens to the Earth, none of us can live. The Earth is something we have to focus on together. We have to unite globally and take care of it together for all of our sustainability.
Yeah. And this term of Earth citizenship, as Courtney mentioned, is not something that the concept is not new, but that term specifically was created by Ilchi Lee. He is a meditation teacher from South Korea, and he's basically the inspiration that we take from to create Earth Management TV. So going a little bit deeper with Earth citizenship, because it is a unique term that we use in our community, an Earth citizen is, simply put, somebody who puts and recognizes the commonality that ties all of us together as inhabitants of the Earth. And that's their priority that they place in which they operate from. So, and because they recognize that we are all bound together by this concept and that we are all united as one under people who live on the Earth, they live in a way that's consciously mindful of the planet for myself and other people. Because this planet is my home, I recognize that. And the other people who are living on the planet are my neighbors and like me. So we are all in this together for the common goal of trying to make our house a great place to live in, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. At least a better place, better and better, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's really what brings us together. If we can go beyond what separates us, we can find that thing that we all share, which is the Earth. We can become closer one another. We can be less judgmental and therefore more compassionate and understanding to each other.
Right. So we're talking about what it is, and then we also want to address who is an Earth citizen, right? This is part of kind of today's topic. But I think that when we look at it closely, as we're doing right now, we can see that by default, we are all already Earth citizens. And it's not about becoming an Earth citizen as much as it is recognizing and embracing the fact that this is an identity that I can claim, which is an identity that looks at our likeness and kind of takes into account this vast interconnectedness with each other, with the planet. And this is going to be the way to move towards healing, towards harmony, towards solving problems, instead of looking at the differences, instead of like all the things that divide us, because there's endless amounts, looking at what unites us. So it's more about claiming, each one of us deciding, oh yeah, I am an Earth citizen. I want to be an Earth citizen. I already exist as an Earth citizen. I just need to decide to take on that identity and that consciousness.
Yeah. And I love that you use that word identity, actually, because identity is not just an intellectual concept. You think about your identity, that roots like deep into your being. It's how you really feel about yourself, how you identify, right? So this whole concept of being an Earth citizen, it goes beyond just a word or two words, Earth citizen. It's something you actually can feel in your heart. And you can get to that kind of mindset of feeling like an Earth citizen through meditation, through introspection, through, deepening your identity, deepening your connection to yourself, your truer self.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like this concept of Earth citizenship because, like you guys mentioned, there's so many ways that divide us, but I love finding more ways to unite us together beyond our differences, because just looking at everybody, just looking at even the three of us, we look different, we're from different backgrounds. And so finding a way for us to unite together, I think is really awesome and what we need. So we talked about what an Earth citizen is, which is a person who lives on Earth, basically. Everybody who lives on Earth. Yeah, basically, everybody who lives on Earth is an Earth citizen. That's our common ground. So now I think we need to talk about, what do Earth citizens do exactly? If you're an Earth citizen, I'm an Earth citizen, Danielle's an Earth citizen, and the listeners are Earth citizens.
Right.
What do Earth citizens do?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, Linda already mentioned there's somebody who lives consciously towards the Earth. They have a mind to protect the Earth, and therefore their actions should and will reflect that in choosing more sustainable ways of living.
And sustainable ways of living doesn't necessarily have to be just like, the stereotypical recycling, composting, reducing plastic.
Which you should do too, but.
Yes, which you definitely should do, but definitely not the only way to live a sustainable life. There are so many more ways. Let's say that you're somehow not a fan of reducing plastic or not really like into that whole thing. There are other ways that you can live that benefit or at least protect the Earth. There's a Buddhist saying, if you can't do good, at least don't do harm. For example, this might sound so small and so silly, but like carving your name on trees, like little things that we kind of do mindlessly that like seem cute because we're a couple and we're like putting our name here together. Like it seems harmless. Or like graffitiing the rocks. You might think, oh, a rock is not a living thing. I'm just like creating art or expressing myself on this. What harm can it be? Even little things like that seem so harmless and insignificant can also have damaging repercussions on the earth and each other.
Right.
Mm-mm. It's a really interesting point, actually, because I feel like when we don't recognize that interconnectedness, or as Courtney said, when we don't feel it in our heart, we all have different opinions about, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's just a rock. Like everyone can disagree forever and ever and ever. So again, back to the heart. It's so important to connect inside and realize that me at my essence, my true self is really just nature itself, actually. And I really believe this is why we feel so much peace and joy when we go to nature and we sit by a tree or by a river, because we're resonating with that nature that is actually who we are deep inside. So we can feel that stillness inside of us. And then once we start to feel that connection to the earth, that likeness, not only with other people, right, but with the planet itself, then when you feel I am this, I cannot damage it as easily. I cannot hurt it, because then, our empathy arises and we feel like I'm hurting myself. Like it hurts me to think about scratching into the tree, or, oh my gosh, if I see here in Washington State, I could see like a truck go by with a whole bunch of logs, like logger trucks go by. And then I'm just like, I feel tears. Like I feel the pain of the trees and the earth, because I know I am that nature. So a huge part of this, what we need to do is all connect with that essence inside of us. Take time to feel it, to listen to it, to feel it in our hearts. And then naturally this empathy will arise, and actions, kinder, more compassionate and empathetic actions will come out, I think, naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that word empathy is a perfect one to use, because this idea of Earth citizens is also how we treat people. It's about not just protecting me, but protecting each other and being kind to each other, because we can sense our interconnectedness, and it's going to affect the way we treat everything that lives on this planet, whether we consider it alive or dead. And that includes humans too.
Yeah, I think that's very key. What you said about protecting each other. I don't think we do that enough. I think we maybe only protect my people or people I love, but we don't protect people we don't necessarily know or have a relationship with because they're not, our friends. But if we see them as other Earth citizens, other people who are in this together on Earth, then I think that might help us kind of be more inclusive rather than divisive.
Yeah.
So having this mindset, everything that we just talked about, about our actions, about our perspective, outlook, is all what makes up an Earth citizen.
Yeah.
And that's all about having this mindset, this consciousness that we talk a lot about on this podcast and on the YouTube channel, Earth Management TV, having that Earth citizen consciousness, because it seems very like, why does that matter? But somebody who's living with that Earth citizen consciousness versus somebody who is not living with that Earth citizen consciousness, even though small, their actions that take place as a result of having that mindset versus not having that mindset will be very, very different. So for example, let's say that person A knows that there's a leak in the house. There's a leak in the house. So if you know that there's a leak in the house, how you behave and act in the house will be different from the same house. There's the same leak, but you don't know that there's a leak.
Right.
So everything's the same. The leak is still there. You're in the same house, the same setting. The only difference is you're aware of the problem versus you are not aware of the problem. And that awareness changes how I move in the house, what I do in the house, what I think about in the house, what I tell people in the house, like that. Earth citizen mindset, that consciousness, living on Earth with that awareness will make my behavior different from somebody who is living on the same planet, same problems, same people, but without that mindset.
And that's why consciousness has to come first. You can learn all the right actions to take, but if you don't have the mind to actually actualize them, you just won't do it. And if you don't do it, nothing's going to change.
Nothing.
So it's not just about educating people about sustainability, although that is still also important. It's about changing people's mindset that will drive them to want to make these changes themselves. It's really not going to be about implementing more laws that tell people how to recycle. People do not like to be told what to do. So now the point is we really need to feel that we want to take different actions. And that comes from changing or upgrading our consciousness to really want to do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's why I think, I really like our call to action that we're always focusing here. The Earth Hour, we're always talking about it and suggesting it. I think it kind of opens up for all of that. First of all, when you do Earth Hour, when you turn off your lights, you're taking an action that's mindful and aware of the earth, of conserving electricity. So that's a mindful, conscious action. At the same time, that 1 hour can become an opportunity for you to self-reflect, for you to become aware of where's your mind, today? How have you lived your day? Have you been thinking about the earth? Have you been living in separation with other people, with yourself, or more harmonious, more focusing on our togetherness, our likeness? So the Earth Hour becomes a chance to meditate, take time to have a quiet walk, maybe even out in nature, reflect and become aware. So it's a good time. This is like raising our Earth citizen consciousness, this Earth Hour.
And that's a great example because it's not just about how much energy you conserve when you do it. When you take that time, you're consciously choosing and developing a deeper awareness of how your actions impact the planet. At least that's been my personal experience. 1 hour to think about the earth and 1 hour to think about how I'm impacting the earth and everything around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
That can also be a very easy first step to developing that Earth citizen consciousness.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I hope that now you can see, your listeners can see yourself as somebody who has a place on the planet. That your existence, even though my existence is just 1 out of 8 billion people, that one existence, your existence means something. And because it means something, because you're significant, that you have a slightly different perspective on how you see your role on Earth as an Earth citizen.
I like that.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for listening. We hope that these conscious conversations are useful for you. And if you like our podcast topics and find them interesting, please share the podcast with people around you. So next week's topic is living with AI and its effect on the planet.
That's a big one.
Ooh. So we will talk about how AI is shaping our culture and what this means for our planet's future health and well-being. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time, Earth citizens.
So long, Earth citizens. Bye.